Welcome to the show. Brock Page here, and may you crush your bookies' nuts into small pebbles this weekend. We've got ourselves a weekend full of marquee matchups in college football, beginning with Penn State at Ohio State for a 3:30 kickoff at the Horseshoe. I cannot wait for this game. This is what college football is all about. The Ohio State Buckeyes opened the week as the 7-point favorites in this matchup. Total opened at 57.5. Since the betting opened up, we've seen some movement of the lines in favor of Penn State and the under. Right now, the Buckeyes are laying just 6.5 against the spread, with the total moving to a downward 55.5. Currently, Ohio State's the $2.50 favorites to win this one outright. And at the moment, the public money continues to come in on Penn State. The spread has not only moved toward them getting it done, they also own nearly 70% of the public action. That said, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Nittany Lions catching just 5.5 to 6 by kickoff. Now, if you want to bet sides in this one, I think you really need to take a look at these Penn State trends, because they've been good on the field and good in the books. Against the spread, this Penn State squad is 5-2 overall and successfully covered their last 3 straight. Not bad considering Penn State was laying double digits in every single game this year, for the exception of Michigan. That was a measly 29-point victory, might I add. The Nittany Lions have got themselves a formidable opponent in Ohio State, but the Buckeyes haven't been a real good covering team on the year, especially at home. Ohio State against the spread is just 1-3 in their games at the Horseshoe. They've also covered just 1 of 4 games as the official home favorite. Even worse, this Buckeye team is a winless 0-3 against the spread against teams over 700. They've also gone just 1-3 covering against teams giving up less than 25 points a game. I know I really pulled out all the weird numbers for this one. Having said all that, let's go ahead and break down the scoring before I select a winner. And when it comes to the totals, we've seen a lot of scoring in these Ohio State games. Granted, they came against the worst teams college football has to offer. Buckeye games are 4-0 to the overs in their last 4. Ohio State amassed an unbelievable 57 points of scoring per game in those contests. Penn State games are also 1-1 to the overs in their last 2. The Nittany Lions are also averaging nearly 40 points of scoring in their last 3 contests themselves. All said and done, we could very well have ourselves a slugfest this Saturday. Excuse me. We should also probably go over the line during regulation, but we always have overtime to fall back on if this one gets tight. All in all, however, I got to disagree with the betting public on the total. I like this one getting over 55.5. And when it comes to selecting a winner on the spread, I got to get back on board with the public money and buy the hook. Give me the Penn State Nittany Lions +7 catching points as the number 2 team in the country. Yes, sir, I will take it. Next game, Oklahoma State at West Virginia. I'm in a great spot here, folks. I really think this is a great opportunity to hedge my wagering and come out with at least a tie on the payout. Now let's take a look at what I'm talking about. OK State opened as the 6-point favorites on the spread in this one. A lot of folks really liking OK State in this one, even after that lackluster OT performance against Texas. I really think this Oklahoma State team has to take care of business and put these inferior teams away. They got very fortunate to come away with a W there. Now, great teams do not let a dog like that linger around. But anyway, in this matchup, all of that early money came pouring in on the Cowboys to get the job done. Currently, I have Oklahoma State -8.5 against the spread after all that early action. And if you're betting sides and you like Oklahoma, I guess you can feel good about it since all that early money came pouring in on them to get it done. But if you're a West Virginia bettor in this one, I really think the trends favor your inclination. West Virginia's won 3 of their last 4 outright and has successfully covered 2 of their last 3. Even more encouraging for Mountaineer bettors, West Virginia is a perfect 2-0 covering the spread at home. Equally as impressive, West Virginia has garnered themselves a record of 2-0 against the spread versus teams over a 700 win percentage. Yeah, wow, what a stat. This Mountaineer squad has marquee covers over the likes of Texas Tech and TCU on the year. They're going up against an Oklahoma State opponent who's covered just 2 of 4 on the road this year. OK State has also covered just 2 of 4 games when they were laying the points away from home. And most concerning for me, if you're an Oklahoma State bettor in this one, the Cowboys have failed to cover 3 of their last 4 contests. Not too good against the number in these past 4 weeks. I don't know if an away contest laying more than a touchdown will be the week to turn it around covering-wise. And speaking of touchdowns, we didn't see too many of them last week when the Cowboys took on Texas. In addition to that, Oklahoma State games are just 1 and 2 to the overs in their last 3. Meanwhile, on the other side, completely different story as WVU games are 3 and 1 to the overs in their last 4. The Mountaineers are also averaging 41 points of scoring per contest. As far as this matchup goes, we don't have an opening line on the total just yet, but I do think a lot of points will be scored in this one, according to the trends. That said, I'm not overly concerned about the total in this one. That low-scoring game with Texas last week has me a little gun-shy. What I am going to do, however, is buy the hook and take West Virginia plus the points at home. And when it comes to the money line, it's a hefty price to pay, but this Oklahoma State team has proven to be resilient in certain spots, so I do think they can come out with an outright W in Morgantown. All told, I like West Virginia plus 9 and OK State winning it outright. Next game I have for you, it is going to be Texas Baylor. The Longhorns open 10, now 7.5. Total open 60, now 57. Texas is 300 to win it. The Longhorns have been very good covering on the year. They're 5 and 2 overall, 3 and 0 on the road, and covered 3 of 4 in their last 4 straight. They have a Baylor opponent who's just 3 and 3 against the spread and haven't won a game in forever. Scoring-wise, Baylor games are 3 and 1 to the overs in their last 4. Different story on the Texas side. Longhorn games are 3 and 1 to the unders in their last 4 themselves. All told, skipping a play on the total, I do like Texas to get it done. I'll buy the hook and take the Longhorns minus 7 and winning it outright for some money line cash. Next game, Miami, UNC. Minimal movement in this one. Miami opened 20.5, now 19.5. Total open 53, now 54. Miami's laying 1,300 to win it. If you're betting sides, Miami's been good on the road. The Hurricanes against the spread are 2-0 away from home, 3 and 2 overall, and 3 and 2 laying the points. Equally as impressive, this Miami squad's 2-0 covering as the official road favorite. They've got themselves a UNC opponent who's been awful against the number. The Tar Heels against the spread are just 1 and 7 overall, 0 and 5 at Keenan Memorial, and 0 and 5 catching points. Even worse, North Carolina's 0 and 3 covering as the official home dog, 1 and 5 against teams over 700, and 1 and 4 covering against teams giving up less than 25 a game. Forget the total. No need to spread it around here like a roulette table. I'm buying the hook and taking the U. Minus 19. Next game, Louisville at Wake Forest. Louisville open 6, now 2.5. Total open 58.5, now 62.5. The Cards are 3 to 2 to win it outright. The Cards are 2 and 2 covering away from home. They're also coming fresh off an outright win and cover at Doak Campbell over the Noles. They got a Wake Forest team who's 0-1 covering games at the current posted total. They've also failed to cover the spread in 2 of their last 4. Oddly enough, Wake Forest is 0-2 covering against teams between a 5 and 700 win percentage. I know, very weird stat. Wake Forest has suffered 3 consecutive losses at the hands of the hapless Florida State Seminoles, Clemson Tigers, and Georgia Tech. Now, total-wise, Wake Forest games are actually just 1 and 3 to the overs in their last 4. They've averaged just 17 points of scoring in those unders. And believe it or not, similar story on the other side, as Louisville games are just 1 and 2 to the overs in their previous 3 before last week's action. All said and done, the case for the under can actually kind of be made, and I'm leaning towards it. I'm going to disagree with the betting public on the total. I'm also going to disagree with the early money on a winner. All told, I'm going to buy the hook and take Louisville minus 2. Louisville straight up under 62.5. Next game, TCU, Iowa State, loving this one, folks. 3:30 kickoff at Jack Trice. TCU open 7, now 6.5 for some reason. Total open 53, all the way down to 48. TCU's laying 240 on the money line. The Horned Amphibians have been great covering on the road this year. Absolutely remarkable. TCU's gone 3-0 against the spread in all their games on the road. TCU against the number is also 4-2 overall, 3-2 laying the points, and a perfect 2-0 as the official road favorite. In addition to all that, TCU's 2-0 covering versus teams allowing less than 25 points per contest. The Horned Toads have covered 3 of their last 4 with marquee covers over Kansas, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State. TCU's got themselves an Iowa State team who's covered just 1 of 3 at Jack Trice Stadium. They're also 0-2 against the points as the official home underdog. All in all, I'm looking forward to taking advantage of some advantageous line movement here. I'm foregoing a play on the total in this one. I am, however, going to buy the hook when it comes to the spread. Give me TCU -6 and winning this one outright for some money line cash. Next game I have for you, it is going to be another one I absolutely love. I'm talking about Michigan State at Northwestern. I'll tell you this much. If you've been following Michigan State lines this year, they have been getting some of the absolute best lines I've seen in college football. For the exception of that backdoor cover by Minnesota, these guys should damn near be undefeated when it comes to the spread. But anyway, Michigan State opened as the 1-point favorite in this one. Total opened 41.5. Since the betting opened up, the money obviously came in on Michigan State, but certainly not as much as I thought would come in. Right now, the Spartans are just laying 1.5 against the spread, with the total moving downward to an even 41. Currently, Michigan State's laying $1.40 to win this one outright, and at the moment, just 28% of the public actions on Northwestern, so look for them to be catching another point or two by kickoff. If you're betting sides, the Spartans have been a very good covering team this year. Against the spread, the Spartans are 5-2 overall and 4-1 laying the points. And if Minnesota didn't backdoor them, as I mentioned, they would have won and covered their last 4 straight. The Spartans are up against a Northwestern team who's covered just 2 of 4 at home and 1 of 2 catching points. In addition to going 0-1 covering as the official home underdog, the Wildcats lost 2 of their previous 3 outright before last week's action. Now, scoring-wise, 2 out of both teams' previous 3 games have gone under the line. Northwestern averaged just 12 points of scoring per game in those unders. Michigan State averaged just 15 points of scoring per game in their 2 unders as well. All told, I'm in full agreement with the public bettors in all facets of this game. I'm going to buy the hook and take Michigan State -1. Michigan State, money line, under 41. Next game I have for you, it is going to be Georgia, Florida, Everbank Field. Georgia open 14, now 13. Total open 47, now 43. Georgia's laying 5.25 to win. Georgia's great against the number, 5-1 overall, 3-0 away from home, 4-1 laying the points. They're also 2-0 covering when favored away from home, and 2-0 covering versus teams allowing less than 25 a game. They've got themselves a Florida team who struggles to cover. The Gators against the spread are 2-4 overall, 0-2 away from home, 0-2 as the dog. Gators have also failed to cover in 3 of their last 4. Now, scoring-wise, Florida games are 2-1 to the overs in their previous 3. Before last week's action, they averaged 33 points of scoring per game in those overs. Other side, Georgia games are 2-0 to the overs in their last 2 themselves. They're averaging an absurd 49 points of scoring in those 2 overs as well. All told, I think the public is totally off the mark when it comes to the total, and I actually think they're off base when it comes to the spread as well. All said and done, I like Georgia -13, Georgia straight up, over 43. All right, folks, I'm going to slide in my next and final game for the show. It is going to be NC State, Notre Dame, 3:30 kickoff, Notre Dame. The Irish opened up 7.5, now 7. Total open 57.5, now 59. Notre Dame's 275 to win it. The Irish have been one of the best covering teams in the country against the spread. Notre Dame 6-1 overall, 3-1 in the friendly confines, 6-1 laying the points. They're also 3-1 as the official home favorite, 3-1 against teams giving up less than 25 a game, and 2-1 covering against teams over 700. I like the Irish to get it done here. I'm going to forego laying the points and making a play on the total. I do, however, have no problem paying the hefty price and taking Notre Dame 275, winning this one outright for some money line cash. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. And if for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page Productions, I'm Brock Page, the one and only, and have yourself a positive day.